Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. This is the channel where justice matters. My name is Mark. I am a true crime fanatic, and I love to dig deeper into the mysteries of unsolved cases. Join me as we search for missing persons, uncover the clues in unsolved murders, follow along with jury trials, and we'll be a voice for the voiceless. I'll share with you the facts, the theories, the clues, the evidence, and the controversies that surround these cases. This is Beyond the Evidence. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday. If you are in the area of these storms, please be safe. Watch your weather. I know there's a lot of things going on. Welcome back. Like I said, we are doing episode 27 of the Tabitha Shuck Raines story. If you missed last night's episode, go rewatch it after this because there was a lot of good information. And batten down the hatches because there's more coming tonight and a lot of contradictions. Let's bring in my co-host, Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
Waiting on the storms to hit.
Yeah, I know. What did you think of last night? Reading all that stuff.
A lot of head scratching.
Yes. Lots of head scratching. I know a couple people told me that they were rewatching it because there was so much in last night's episode.
Yeah.
So, oh, you're okay, Carrie. It's all right. I knew it was just fat fingers typing wrong. Hey, Justice Angel, nice to see you. Fight for Justice, welcome back. And Carrie, thanks for joining us. I know we've got others here. They just watch and not chat, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so what we are doing, we found 80 pages of supplemental reports, and these are the police reports. So we are going through, hello, rescue all the dogs. We are going through those reports and reading each one of them because last night we noticed a lot of inconsistencies and contradictions.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them.
So we read pages 1 through 32. We're going to read 32 to as many as we can get to in an hour. And if we don't get through all of them, which I don't know if we will, but if not, we will do another live probably on Sunday. So you get 3 episodes of Tabi's story this week. Like I said, if you missed the one last night, go and watch it. And of course, we have Mark with us tonight. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us, he says. Good to have you here, Mark. Oh my goodness. Last night, after we got done reading those 32 pages, my mind would not stop for a good half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah. It's just mind-blowing how one person can say so many different versions of their whereabouts.
And I think what we're seeing right now doing this is how many versions of a story can Kyle and Amanda come up with?
Yeah.
Because if you notice, everybody else is pretty consistent. Except those two.
Right.
And what they've told people and what they've, what they've said in their own statements and depositions, basically.
Which also kind of leads you to realize why there was an acquittal.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. And it's sad because it also leads you to believe that Jay Rich did not investigate this.
Oh, no.
He did not.
Or he investigated it to the best of his ability.
Okay, I'll give him that.
Right.
I'll give him that. Oh, all right. For anybody wondering, the Angel Wing pendant will be ready and available the end of May. Awesome. I have to get with Buffy and find out where she orders those from, because I think we're going to need more than 40. We'll see. But I'll order the next round. So, Justice Angel says enough versions to create deflection and doubt. Exactly.
Yep.
He told us himself he's not an investigator, he's a prosecutor. He prosecutes. Well, he doesn't do that very well either.
Yeah, he may not be an investigator, which is true. I mean,
right?
They're not really investigators. That's what the cops are for.
But prosecutors do have investigators underneath them.
Yeah, right. But as far as him, I mean, you know how he was telling everybody, oh, well, I took over the investigation when Gary Stout died. Well, how can you do that when you're not technically a law enforcement person?
Investigator?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we have all kinds of issues, and wait till you hear what's on the agenda for tonight. If you thought last night was mind-blowing, just wait. Okay.
All right, let's get into it. There's lots to read.
So last night, we ended with the fact that, and I'm sorry that the lighting in here keeps going nuts. I can't wait to get into my new office. It'll be a lot better. But last night we ended with the fact that the police went and interviewed Andrew Bush. And his story is the story, the one and only story that they went with. And that we know that his father was not prosecuted for a death and for 2 other overdoses, because Bush came forward and gave his story. So, let's continue.
Okay. Who's reading first?
I'll read first.
Okay.
Okay, so on March 19, 2003, I contacted the Clinton, Illinois Police Department, speaking with Detective Bill Geis. I asked Detective Geis contact Cynthia Wallace so Stout and I could interview her son, Andrew Bush. Detective Geis contacted me later in the day, advising Andrew would speak with us only if we drove to Clinton, Illinois. Arrangements were made for Detective Stout and I to interview Andrew on Thursday, March 20th, 2003, at the Clinton, Illinois Police Department.
Which, let's refresh. March 20th is the day that all 3 got arrested.
Yes.
Later on that evening.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
On March 20th, 2003, Detective Stout and I arrived at the Clinton, Illinois Police Department at approximately 9:15 a.m. Andrew Bush and Cynthia Wallace arrived at the police department 1 hour later. Detective Stout and I initially spoke with Cynthia Wallace about Andrew's possible involvement in Raines' murder. We provided her with information we had gained, telling her that we learned Andrew and his friend, Chris Baker, allegedly disposed of the handgun used to kill Raines. We also informed her that we learned Andrew was having nightmares about the murder and that he left Tipton shortly after the murder. So I wonder where they got the tip that he had the gun.
Who knows? Because nothing's been said about that.
Nope. Ms. Wallace stated that Andrew had come to live with her and her husband, James Wallace, in early December 2002 after having lived in Florida with Chris Baker. She said Andrew does not discuss the murder, but acknowledged that he does have nightmares that have occurred for some time. Ms. Wallace has taken Andrew to a physician and said he is being treated by a counselor. Ms. Wallace said that she does not believe Andrew is responsible for Raines' murder, but feels he has information about it. At approximately 11:18 a.m., Detective Stout and I conducted a tape-recorded statement of Andrew Wallace. Well, that's different. That's another typo in the report.
Right.
In the presence of his mother. Both Andrew and his mother signed the waiver of rights form after I read Andrew his Miranda rights. He stated he understood his rights. Stout and I gave Andrew and his mother time alone to speak with each other, which is very weird, after he signed the waiver of rights form. Following this, Detective Geis, Detective Stout, and I were asked to return to the room where the interview continued. In his interview, Andrew told us that he did not have any personal knowledge of the murder of Tabitha Raines, but stated he had heard rumors as to what might have occurred. Andrew told us that he did not have any involvement in disposing of the handgun. Andrew's body posture and demeanor made it appear that he was quite nervous, indicating to Detective Stout and myself that he might have been withholding information. We continued to question Andrew, who then began providing more information. Andrew told us that he had been in the park, Tipton City Park, one evening in early October 2002, but was not sure of the day. He said he had been sitting in the park pavilion alone when Tabitha Raines approached him. He began talking to Raines when he noticed a vehicle enter the park and drive to the area near the restrooms and the ball fields, and then stop. Andrew recognized the vehicle as the one driven by Elizabeth Balser. He said that Balser and a male subject exited the vehicle and walked toward the bank of the creek that runs through the park. Andrew said he lost sight of them, but later observed them with a third person near the footbridge that is located next to the horseshoe pits and basketball courts. Now remember, in his official statement, deposition, he says that Tabi is in the pavilion with him at this time.
Right.
But when he initially talks to police, he leaves that out. Andrew said that Raines walked to the area where Balser and the other two were standing, but that he left the park on foot, walking north on Main Street in Tipton. Andrew said that as he was approaching the Tipton County Prosecutor's Office, he heard a gunshot. He said he continued to walk home.
Okay, now hang on a minute.
Yeah.
The prosecutor's office is downtown. Always has been.
Right.
Which is 4 blocks away.
Right.
4 blocks from the park.
Right. Interesting.
Which we all know that's
detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 blocks. I mean, yeah, later. Can you hear a gunshot? Yeah.
Right, but he changes his story, so.
Right. And yes, he changes his story. Detective Stout and I continued to question Andrew, telling him we did not believe he was being completely honest with us. Andrew then broke down, began crying, and said, "They effing shot her. Right in front of me." I asked Andrew to be completely honest with us, withholding no information. Andrew asked if he could have something to drink. Therefore, we decided to take a short break before continuing the interview. Shortly thereafter, Andrew told us that he was ready to tell the whole truth because Tabitha Raines had been his friend. Andrew stated he was alone in the Tipton City Park Pavilion around 11 p.m., but was not sure of the day. He observed a vehicle enter the park and stop between the restroom and the ball diamonds, which he recognized as one driven by Elizabeth Balser. He said he observed Balser and a second person exit the vehicle, but could not see them after they went down by the creek bank. Andrew said that at about the same time, Tabitha Raines walked into the pavilion alone and began talking to him. He said that Raines drank some of the vodka that he had brought to the park. He said that approximately 7 to 10 minutes later, he saw 3 individuals near the footbridge, which is located near the horseshoe pits and basketball courts in the park. The individuals began yelling for Raines to come over to them, so Raines and he, Andrew, approached them. So now he's saying the vehicle entered the park and stopped between the restrooms and the ball diamond.
Which is roughly where her body would have been found in the water.
Right.
In the area that supposedly we've been told there was people.
Earlier in the night, parked.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right. Okay. Andrew said that once they got close to the 3, he recognized them as Elizabeth Balser, Jonathan Yates, and Kyle Neff. He said that he knew all 3 and said that Balser immediately began confronting Raines about stealing cocaine from her. Andrew stated that approximately 1 week prior to this, he had heard that Elizabeth Balser had had approximately 1.5 ounces of cocaine. He said that Balser pulled out a revolver and struck Raines in the head with it. Andrew said that Raines was on the ground but managed to stay on her knees. Andrew said that he was approximately 3 to 4 feet from Balser and Raines and began approaching Raines to help her. He said that Yates and Neff each grabbed his arm and tried to hold him back so he couldn't get to Raines. Balser then turned and pointed the gun at Andrew, telling him to shut up and not move. Balser then turned back to Raines and shot her in the head. Andrew said he dropped his head as Balser fired a second shot and said he did not know where the second shot landed. Andrew said Yates shouted, "Holy fuck," and both Yates and Neff let go of Andrew's arms. Andrew said he was close enough to Raines and Balser when Raines got hit that blood splattered on his face. Balser yelled at Yates and Neff to help her with the body and had to yell at them a second time before Yates and Neff assisted her in dragging Raines' body.
In dragging.
He said that Balser, huh?
In dragging Raines' body.
In dragging, yes. But yet, he said after that first shot, or even the second shot, he ran.
Right.
So how does he know that they did all this?
Right, exactly.
He said that Balser had grabbed Raines' body under both arms, while Yates and Neff each grabbed one of her legs. Andrew stated that as soon as the three began dragging Raines' body away, he took off running and did not stop until he got back to his house, which at that time was located in Country Living Trailer Park. He said that Balser had grabbed Raines' body under both arms, which means it would have happened, like we said, where she scooped her up under the arms and her head was against Elizabeth Balser.
Mm-hmm.
None of this. She grabbed her from the side and whatever.
Right.
Which means that Elizabeth Balser should have had blood all over her shirt.
Right.
And her pants.
Yeah.
Andrew said that when he last saw Raines' body, it was completely clothed. He stated he has no knowledge as to what Balser did with the gun or its whereabouts. He stated that when Balser began dragging Raines' body, the gun was not in her hands. When asked, Andrew said he did not know why Balser did not shoot him. I also asked if he had been threatened by any of the three, and Andrew stated no. He said he had no contact with Balser, Yates, or Neff since the shooting. Andrew said he has not told this story up to this point because he was scared and had tried to put it out of his mind, but can't. He confirmed that he had been seen by a physician and is currently seeing a counselor because of what he witnessed. Andrew Bush's interview was video and audio taped. Okay, so what did he leave out that is in his deposition?
The direction he ran home, that he ran as soon as she fired the first shot, as soon as she fired the first shot.
And he left out the part that Elizabeth ran after him when he ran.
Right. But that wasn't, he didn't say that the first time. Kyle did. Kyle said she ran after him.
Right.
But he never said that. Of course, you got to remember, too, he gave, now, reading this, he's given 3 different statements as to how he went home.
Right.
He said he ran north on Main to downtown. Then he said he went north on Main to Jackson or to South Street, and then he said he ran straight down the creek bed to the trailer court.
Yeah.
Which not defending, not anything, but if in fact I had just witnessed that, I probably wouldn't really remember a whole lot of how I went home.
No. God, no. I would just keep running.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I telephoned Tipton County Prosecutor Jay Rich, informing him of the information Detective Stout and I had obtained. It was decided that Detective Stout, Prosecutor Rich, Tipton Police Department Chief Gordon Taco, Tipton County Sheriff Craig Henderson, and I would all meet at Tipton County Jail at approximately 4:30 p.m. before attempting to obtain arrest warrants for Balser, Yates, and Neff. During our meeting, Prosecutor Rich requested that we arrest the 3 without warrants as soon as possible. Officers from the Indiana State Police Department, Peru Post, the Tipton County Sheriff's Department, and the Tipton Police Department arrested Yates and Neff at their respective residences. Both were arrested on charges of criminal confinement, a Class B felony, and assisting a criminal, a Class C felony. Elizabeth Balser was arrested in Bloomington, Indiana, by officers of the Indiana State Police, Bloomington Post, and Monroe County Sheriff's Department. Balser was arrested on charges of murder and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon, a Class D felony.
And Bloomington is over 2 hours away.
Bloomington is 2 hours away?
2 hours south.
Okay. All three suspects were in custody by 10 p.m. on 3/20/03. Balser, Yates, and Neff were incarcerated in the Tipton County Jail, and each declined to be interviewed by Detective Stout and myself. So right there, Andrea, because they were arrested by 10 p.m., you know darn well, and they refused to talk to him, there was no search done on Kyle's house that night.
Right. But here's another thing. How can they arrest him without warrants?
I don't know that they need a warrant if they're going to charge them right away. That would be a question for one of my police officer YouTube buddies. Okay. On 3/21/03, I testified in Tipton Circuit Court during probable cause hearing for Balser, Yates, and Neff. Judge Thomas Lett found probable cause for all three suspects, and each was remanded back to the custody of the Tipton County Sheriff's Department, where they currently are being held without bond.
Okay, we've read page 37 already.
Yes. And 38.
Mm-hmm.
39 is a different story. So, page 39 has a list of witnesses. Connie Neff, Jeff Neff, Cammie Moore, Ashley Brown, Megan Anderson, Jennifer West, Desiree Green, Heather Bess, Mary Richards, Joanne Mann, Dina Wright, Jennifer Gull, Ashley Shuck, Mark James, Teresa Moon, Jean Long, Kara Graham, Ashley Borland, and Thomas Nelson.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. On Tuesday, 10/8/02, I received a message to contact Connie Neff, Kyle Neff's stepmother. Mrs. Neff told me that Kyle had contacted her on Monday, 10/7/02, requesting to talk to his father, Jeff Neff, concerning a friend whom had died. I received a telephone call from Jeff Neff shortly after speaking with Mrs. Neff. Mr. Neff told me that Kyle had, in fact, telephoned him on 10/7/02 and went on to say that Kyle told him that a friend of his who had a 6-month-old son had died. Kyle told his father that Detective Gary Stout of the Tipton Police Department had talked with him and his girlfriend, Amanda Pratt. Mr. Neff said he asked Kyle at the time if he was involved in any way with his friend's death, and Kyle told him no, that he had gone to Noblesville on that day that the victim, Tabitha Raines, was last seen. Kyle told his father that he had seen Tabitha earlier at approximately 4 p.m. when he was riding his motorcycle alone because he only has his learner's permit. Mr. Neff said that Kyle does not normally call him if he's in any type of trouble. I later learned that Kyle Neff does not have a learner's permit, nor does he have any kind of motorcycle endorsement through the BMV.
Okay. Hang on.
Okay.
So that's first set of lies. And we know that's a lie because he had people on his bike all the time with him.
Right, but that doesn't mean he had his license.
True. Could have just had people, including Tabi, on the back of his bike without a license, driving
Right.
all over Tipton, where they
Yeah.
could stop him at any time and bust him.
Yeah.
They didn't say everybody was smart.
That's right. And there's people all the time that drive motorcycles without motorcycle license. That's just the truth of the matter. Okay. On Tuesday, 10/8/02, I interviewed Cammie Moore at Tipton High School, where she is a student. Ms. Moore stated that on Thursday, 10/3/02, at approximately 1 p.m., she was northbound on Main at the intersection of Washington Street and Tipton when a large maroon or brown vehicle passed her. Ms. Moore believes that this vehicle was driven by Elizabeth Balser and that Tabitha Raines was in the passenger seat. Ms. Moore said that Tabitha waved to her as their vehicles passed and said that she knows Elizabeth Balser drives a vehicle similar to this one that passed her. On Tuesday, 10/8/02, I conducted an interview of Ashley Brown at Tipton High School, where she is a student. Ms. Brown stated that on Thursday, 10/3/02, she was in a vehicle with Megan Anderson, parked next to Mosier's Jewelry Store in Tipton, facing Jefferson Street. Ms. Brown stated that at approximately 1 p.m., a large brown vehicle was traveling on Jefferson Street and that Tabitha Raines was in the front passenger seat. Ms. Brown said that she and Tabitha looked face to face at each other and she is 85 to 90% sure that whom she saw was Tabitha Raines. Ms. Brown said she commented to Ms. Anderson that Tabitha was also out of school at that time, and Anderson told her that Tabitha dropped out of school. Ms. Brown said she has heard that Elizabeth Balser is involved in Tabitha's death.
Okay.
Okay, that's 3 people now that have said they seen Tabitha with Elizabeth that day.
Yes, but on Thursday, 10/3, 10/3,
Right.
02.
Right.
So this is supposedly the day after she was killed.
Right.
That's
But I think they later. But I think they later correct it.
Okay, but that's important for everybody to recognize.
Yeah.
We do know that there's a lot of typos with dates and everything else in these documents. But as of right now, it says 10/3/02.
And we do know that one of those 3 ladies said that it was in fact Wednesday. So it would have been 10/2.
Right.
Okay. On Tuesday, 10/8/02.
But hang on. Okay. Hang on. So they're saying at 1 p.m. they saw her in this car. Wasn't she at her GED class at that time?
She said, yeah, because Michael took her at 12:45.
And her friend backed it up, stating she was there because then they walked to wherever.
They walked to Emily Sprinkle's house.
Right.
His boyfriend's house.
Right. So how could they see her in Elizabeth's car when she was at the GED class?
True. Unless we have another case of covering each other's asses.
Right. Or they were mistaken on the day that they saw her.
Right.
Or it wasn't actually Tabi in the car with her.
Right.
Okay.
On Tuesday, 10/8/02, I conducted an interview of Megan Anderson at Tipton High School, where she is a student. Ms. Anderson stated that she and Ashley Brown has just parked next to Mosier's Jewelry Store on Thursday, 10/3/02, at approximately 1 p.m., and that while there, she saw Tabitha Raines pass in an eastbound vehicle on Jefferson Street in Tipton. Ms. Anderson described the vehicle as a big dark brown car that had 4 doors, referring to the car as a boat. Ms. Anderson said the front seat passenger had reddish brown hair that hung past her shoulders, whom she believes was Tabitha Raines. On Tuesday, 10/8/02 at approximately 11:20 a.m., I testified in Tipton Circuit Court as to the information provided to me by Ms. Moore, Ms. Brown, and Ms. Anderson. A search warrant was granted for Elizabeth Balser's vehicle by Judge Dane Nash. I drove to Elizabeth Balser's residence where I read her and her mother, Linda, the warrant. I provided a copy of the warrant to Elizabeth Balser, and her vehicle was towed to the Tipton Police Department by Hankins Body Shop. Once there, the search warrant was executed by Sergeant John Nystrom and Tipton Police Department crime scene technician Kevin Steiner. On Tuesday,
Okay.
10/8. Okay, what?
No, I just said okay.
Okay. On Tuesday, 10/8/02, information was received at the Tipton Police Department from Pat McKay, who stated that Jennifer West just left his residence in Kokomo and might possibly have information regarding the female who was found dead in Tipton. I contacted Detective Mike Sanders of the Kokomo Police Department, requesting he attempt to locate Jennifer West. He phoned back a few minutes later saying he found her and was currently transporting her to the Kokomo Police Department. I contacted Detective Mike Tarr, requesting he meet me at the Kokomo Police Department.
And now this is the couple, right, that said
No.
that they were in the park. No?
No.
Oh, this is different people.
These are different people. At approximately 2:05 p.m., Detective Tarr and I interviewed Jennifer West. She stated she arrived at McKay's residence at approximately 11:30 a.m. and heard the news about Tabitha's death just after her arrival. West and she commented to McKay and his wife that she had been told information. She said she knows Desiree Green and has been told that Ms. Green was, quote, in some shit and her lesbian lover, Elizabeth Balser, shot the girl in Tipton, unquote. Ms. West's brother, Jay West, provided her with that information. Detective Tarr and I drove Jennifer West to her residence where we talked to Jay West. Jay told us that he did not personally hear anyone make any comments about Tabitha, but only told his sister what he had been told.
How can you not hear any comments? Well, how can you not personally hear anyone make any comments, but told his sister what he had been told?
Maybe he's talking about he didn't hear it directly from Balser, or like he didn't hear it face to face from the people that allegedly did it. He just heard a rumor. Maybe that's what he's insinuating. I don't know.
Okay. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that, but
yeah. Okay, on Tuesday, 10/8/02, Detective Tarr and I were able to locate Desiree Green in the late afternoon hours at her residence. Ms. Green agreed to give a second interview and accompanied Detective Tarr and myself to the Howard County Jail, where she provided little information. Ms. Green did state that she thought Elizabeth Balser is involved in Tabitha's death, but does not think that Balser was the one who actually killed her. On 10/8/02 at approximately...
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I just got to keep these names straight. Green is the one that supposedly was
Elizabeth's girlfriend.
Balser's girlfriend at the time, correct?
Yeah, she was the dancer at Little Daddy's.
Okay. I need a flow chart. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
On Tuesday, 10/8/02 at approximately 8:45 p.m., Detective Gary Stout, Chief Gordon Taco, and I conducted an interview of Heather Bess at the Tipton Police Department. Ms. Bess is a dancer at Little Daddy's Strip Bar in Kokomo, where Desiree Green also dances. Ms. Bess stated that on Monday, 10/7/02, she arrived at Little Daddy's at approximately 6 p.m. and found Green already there. Ms. Bess says that Elizabeth Balser had something to do with the Tabitha's shooting, and that a male was also present. Elizabeth Balser and Camille Pride arrived at approximately 10 p.m. with a, quote, skinny white guy, unquote, and Balser and Green embraced each other as if they had been romantically intimate before. Ms. Green was supposed to have made a comment to another dancer that she knows something about the shooting, quote, that even the cops don't know, unquote.
Interesting.
On Tuesday, 10/8/02 at approximately 10 p.m., I was given information that Mary Richards might have information regarding this investigation. I drove to her residence located in Tipton County. Richards stated that on Thursday, 10/3/02, she observed a rust-colored truck parked in front of the mausoleum near the Tipton Cemetery. The truck's passenger door was the truck. Ms. Richards and Ms. Richards said she first observed the truck at approximately 5 p.m. and then again at 6 p.m.
Okay. Who do we know that has a rust-colored truck?
Nobody that I know of.
Mark, rust-colored truck. Not car, truck. Can you think of anybody that has had a rust-colored truck?
I know that Mark is going to say one of Michael's friends.
Kerr Hall, absolutely. I don't know
Carrie
if that
Hall
has to
said
do
it
with
could.
my question.
Carrie Hall
but
said no. Carrie Hall said it sounds like this could have been solved a long time ago if the police had done their job.
Oh, yeah,
That's what he's talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah.
Mark said no, he doesn't remember.
Okay. Justice Angel, sad thing is everyone telling a different story is working for Tabi. And yeah, exactly. So, I guess we're going to have to investigate who had a rust-colored truck.
I thought at one time Mark had said one of Michael's friends by the name of Corey. But I could be wrong.
All right, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Okay. On Wednesday, 10/9/02, I interviewed Joanne Mann at the Tipton County Farm Agency, where she told me she resides in Tipton and frequently works in her yard. Ms. Mann said she was not sure of the date, Wednesday 10/2/02 or Thursday 10/3/02, but knew what the time was between 5:15 p.m. and 5:45 p.m. when she was working in her yard on that day. She went on to say that while watering her shrubs, she heard what sounded like a muffled gunshot emitting from the south. She said that a short time later, she heard 2 to 3 more muffled shots and stated that these shots may have originated from south side of the park and located directly south of her residence.
All right, where would that be, Andrea?
The south side of the park?
Yeah.
And south of her residence. So that would be, okay, let me see what her address is again. Yeah, she would live down by the swimming pool.
That's what I thought.
And south of that would be the park.
Mm-hmm. But that was at 5:15 p.m.
Right, and she's saying that she heard one shot and then 2 to 3 more.
Right.
And we know for a fact that there was little kids in the park at that time.
Right. So where could those shots have come from that she actually heard?
If it was shots.
Right. If it was shots at all.
Right.
Hi, Kathy. How you doing?
She said it sounded like muffled gunshots.
Right.
It could have been a kid banging something on a slide.
It could have been. Okay. Go
on
ahead.
Thursday 10/10/02, I conducted a sworn tape recorded statement of Dina Wright at the Tipton Police Department. Ms. Wright stated that Elizabeth Balser was at her residence on Sunday 10/6/02 and that at approximately 4 p.m. and Balser used a Clorox bleach wipe to clean her shoes, including the bottoms. Wright said that Balser then polished her shoes using polish provided to her by Ms. Wright. Ms. Wright said that Balser again cleaned her shoes while at her apartment on Wednesday 10/9/02 and that only she and Balser were at the apartment each time Elizabeth Balser cleaned her shoes. Ms. Wright said that Elizabeth Balser routinely comes to her apartment once a week. However, since Tabitha Raines' body was found, Balser has been at her apartment almost daily. Ms. Wright stated that on Saturday 10/5/02, Elizabeth Balser was at her residence after Tabi's body was found. The two were sitting near some concrete, and Balser struck the concrete, saying, "Why are you doing this to me, you stupid bitch?" Ms. Wright said that Balser then said, "I'm sorry, Tab. I shouldn't use your name like that." Ms. Wright said that Elizabeth Balser had discussed a threesome involving Tabitha Raines, Michael Raines, Tabitha's husband, and herself, Elizabeth Balser. Balser also told Raines that Tabitha's body was shaved when it was found.
What? Shaved?
Right.
Shaved where?
Well, think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Balser also told Wright that she cleaned up her car. Ms. Wright said that Balser's shoes are always dirty and she's never known her to wear any shoes other than the white tennis shoes that she's cleaned both times at her apartment. Ms. Wright did not know the relationship Elizabeth Balser had with Tabitha Raines, saying that they've kissed in the past, but she did not know whether it had gone farther than that. Balser did tell Wright that on Tuesday, 10/102, while at Tabitha Raines' residence, Tabitha asked her not to leave. Ms. Wright said that she had since talked to Tasha Stevens, who was at Ryan Davis's house on 10/2/02, and that Tabitha was there that day. She said Tabitha told Stevens and Davis that she had to go because she was getting ready to go out with Elizabeth Balser. On Thursday, 10/3/02, at approximately 11:30 a.m., I testified in Tipton Circuit Court establishing probable cause for a search warrant for Elizabeth Balser's shoes, cell phone, and telephone records of Elizabeth Balser's mother's home telephone. The search warrant was granted and issued at approximately 11:55 a.m. by Judge Pro Tem Mark Renee. The search warrant was later executed by Tipton Police Department crime scene technician Kevin Steiner.
Anything strike you in that section, in those sections?
Never heard the name Ryan Davis or Tasha Stevens.
Right.
And nothing had been said prior to this about her going out with Elizabeth, or that they had kissed, or about a threesome.
Right.
With Michael and the two of the girls.
Right. Okay, hang on one second here. South end of the park is... I don't think the south end of the park is the baseball diamonds. Isn't it more by the swimming pool?
No, it'd be by the baseball diamonds. It's the south end of the park.
Oh, okay. One might search rust-colored truck in other court cases. Feels like a blended report. Could be. We know that we've had that in the past. I still fully believe
rust-colored could be a whole variations of colors.
Right. Right. Well, we agree with you there, Justice Angel. Yeah. Absolutely not killed in the fashion how they're wanting us to believe. Yep. All right.
On Thursday, 10/10/02, I conducted an interview of Jennifer Gall at the Tipton Police Department. Gall is the live-in girlfriend of Daniel Kokendorfer, a friend of Kyle Neff's. Ms. Gall said she has lived with Kokendorfer for approximately 5 months and that both of them work at Jim Dandy Restaurant in Tipton. Ms. Gall said she knows Kokendorfer is a friend of Kyle Neff's and she saw Neff at her residence on Wednesday, 10/2/02. Ms. Gall was at her residence on that date at 3:30 p.m. and again at 4:20 p.m. Both times Kyle Neff was there. Ms. Gall said that Kyle Neff usually contact each other once a week, but he has recently been contacting Kokendorfer almost daily. Okay, so hang on. He's supposedly at Kokendorfer's house at 3:30 and 4:20 on that Wednesday, but says that he saw Tabitha at Village Pantry at 4 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. Ms. Gall said that Kyle Neff was at Jim Dandy twice on Wednesday, 10/9/02, to see Kokendorfer and even called him on the phone at one point. The second time Neff came into Jim Dandy on 10/9/02, his girlfriend, Amanda Pratt, was with him. Ms. Gall does not think that Kyle Neff is capable of killing anyone, but said she does not know him that well. Kokendorfer has told Ms. Gall that Kyle Neff, Ms. Pratt, and Tabitha Raines have all been together sexually, and Ms. Gall believes that if Kokendorfer knew anything about Tabitha's death, he would tell the police.
Not necessarily.
But he did.
Yes, but he did.
And that's in his deposition.
Yep.
On Thursday, 10/10/02, I conducted an interview of Ashley Shuck at the Tipton Police Department, where she stated that she has heard that Lindsay Groves, Elizabeth Balser, and Jonathan Nates were all involved in Tabitha's death. Ms. Shuck said that she heard 4 people killed Tabitha while 3 others watched. Shuck believes that Kayla Amon might have something to do with what happened because she, Kayla, was seen laughing at Tabitha's funeral and saying that the funeral was, quote, not a big deal, unquote. Kayla has also been reported to have been laughing at school about Tabitha's death. Ms. Shuck.
Now, hang on one second. Ashley Shuck is Tabitha's sister. Just want to throw that out there in case anybody listening doesn't know that.
Are you sure she is?
Is she?
No, I don't think so.
Mark. Wait, what's Tabi's sister's name?
It's Tara, isn't it?
No. I'm waiting. Mark must be typing. Mark, who is Ashley Shuck?
I think I know who it is. Tara is
Tara.
Tabitha's
Gloria.
sister.
Okay. Yeah. Is Ashley a cousin then?
No, she isn't. She isn't. Different family.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
So I know who it is then. Okay.
Okay.
Shuck believes that Kayla Amon. Okay, I read all that. Ms. Shuck stated that Ashley Tittle told her on Wednesday, 10/9/02, that she, Tittle, was in Yates's truck and saw what looked like blood on the seat. She told Shuck that Yates kept a towel over the seat, but that it moved while they were driving. Ms. Shuck said she also heard that there was a tape of Yates and Balser purchasing bullets. She said that someone residing across the street from Yates recently reported a gun missing, and she knows that Tittle used to date Yates. And just for the record, Ashley Tittle's no longer alive.
Okay.
On Thursday, 10/10/02 at approximately 9:30 p.m., the Tipton Police Department received information from the Kokomo Police Department that Mark, it says James, but Mark said it was Jimenez, supposedly confessed to having killed someone recently. Ashley Peters, Jimenez's girlfriend, telephoned the Kokomo Police Department, stating Jimenez told her he had killed someone. Sergeant Timothy Miller, Chief Taco, and I drove to the Howard County Jail where Jimenez was currently incarcerated and conducted an interview of him. During that interview, Jimenez admitted that he had told Peters he killed someone, but that because he was high on methamphetamine, was showing off to her that he really never killed anyone. Jimenez said that he, with Peters on 10/4/02 at 5 a.m., when he made his statement to her and was trying to break up with her because he had gotten Jennifer Floyd pregnant. Jimenez said he has never killed anyone and would submit to a polygraph examination in order to prove such. When asked about his whereabouts, Jimenez said he was at Floyd's residence in Kokomo. Jimenez said that on Thursday, 10/3/02, he spent the night at home with his brother Pete before leaving around 3 a.m. or so. I explained while we were questioning him about Tabitha's death, and his reaction appeared to all officers present that he was shocked and not involved with her death. On Friday, 10/11/02, I received information from Ree Moon that her niece, Teresa Moon, wanted to speak with me about a conversation she had with Jason McCartney. I telephoned Teresa Moon, who stated she works with McCartney at Conseco in Carmel. and that he has told her he knows who's involved with the death of Tabitha Raines. McCartney said Jonathan Yates and Elizabeth Balser are the #1 suspects and that Amanda Pratt and Kyle Neff are also involved. Pratt supposedly set up the killing of Tabitha Raines.
Interesting.
McCartney told Boone that Yates was involved in the theft of 1 pound of marijuana and that Tabitha Raines was going to tell the police this. Yates was mad at Tabitha because she even wanted to tell the police, but that Tabitha was not supposed to get killed over it. They just wanted to scare her. Teresa Moon asked McCartney what kind of, quote, low-life friends, unquote, he had, and he told her, quote, I'll be at your house and introduce you to my friends, unquote. Moon said that his statement threatened her. On Friday, 10/11/02, I interviewed Gene Long at the Tipton Police Department. Long is familiar with Amanda Pratt, Kyle Neff, Elizabeth Balser, and Jonathan Yates, and said that Michael Raines told him that Tabitha, Neff, and Pratt were involved in stealing $2,000 worth of cocaine from a subject in Kokomo. Long was told that Tommy Nelson threw Tabitha's purse in a cornfield. Long also said that he knows that Mandy Amon is a good friend of Yates, and he believes that Pratt, Neff, Yates, Balser, and possibly Lindsay Grove are involved somehow in Tabitha's death. He speculated that Pratt may have shot Tabitha based upon what he has heard this far.
Oh, is that interesting?
Oh boy. Long said that Tabitha and Neff...
Hang on. You can't just gloss over that one.
Oh boy.
Oh, Nelly. So now this is the first time we're hearing that Yates was mad at Tabitha because she wanted to tell the police. And there's so many different names that we don't have any documents on. And one person says that they think that Amanda Pratt set Tabitha up. This one says Pratt. Oh.
He speculated that Pratt may have shot Tabitha.
Based upon what he has heard thus far.
And that's Gene Long.
Yes.
Saying that.
Yes.
Who is Michael's friend.
Justice Angel says, wow.
Right?
How could... I've got people watching here. Just tell me, how could police ignore all of this? And go upon the statement of a young man that took so many drugs and alcohol that night.
That he admitted to almost being unconscious.
Right. And went with that story. How does that happen? I agree.
Oh, we got to move to the next paragraph.
Hang on. You've got multiple people stating that Amanda Pratt stated that if she came across Tabitha, she would kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple people have said that. Not just one.
At least 3 that we know of.
Not just 2.
At least 3 people that we know of.
And I know that people have heard that they supposedly made up her and Tabitha, but I can tell you that did not happen.
No, because she said it a month prior to Tabitha getting shot.
Right. well, from what we've heard, she said it a lot earlier than,
Right.
a couple week out. And now you have people saying that they think Amanda either set her up or shot her. How in the world does law enforcement and Jay Rich not look into this further and consider this a better motive than what Andrew Bush is telling them? Okay.
Okay. Long said that Tabitha and Neff were having an affair, and he thinks that Tabitha was killed at Neff's residence. Long was told that Amber Heaton had stopped at Kyle Neff's house and that Neff appeared to be hiding something while she was there. Long said he has also heard that Elizabeth Balser has been bragging about some kind of video he believes of Tabitha's death. Long said that Yates telephoned him the night before he was to take a polygraph test and wanted, quote, pills, unquote, from him. Long believes that Yates was not at Tabitha's funeral because he is somehow involved in her death. Which we know now,
Okay.
from the polygraph, we know according to his polygraph, he passed it.
Right. Now, would pills, we're going to have to investigate this. Would taking some kind of pills cause
Alter
him
the
to
test?
pass the test
Absolutely.
falsely?
Yeah, because on a lie detector test, it's based on your reaction to questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you're stressed out, or if you're scared, or if you're lying, that's how it's gonna react.
Right.
If you're lying, and it's a stress analysis basically.
And if you
So
took pills that'll calm yourself, you're not going to show
Right.
any of those signs.
Right.
Okay. So this is not the first time that we've heard that Tabitha was killed at Kyle Neff's house. I will say that. It's not the first time that we've heard that a video was taken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
On Saturday, 10/12/02, I conducted an interview of Kara Graham at the Tipton Police Department, where she told me she is a friend of Mandy Amon and attended Tabitha's funeral with her. Graham stated that on Wednesday, 10/9/02, Amon, Robbie Nelson, and Tommy Nelson stopped by her apartment. Tommy Nelson told her that Yates said, "I hurt a girl bad." Ms. Graham has heard that Kyle Neff, Amanda Pratt, Elizabeth Balser, and Jonathan Yates might be involved with Tabitha's death. Amon told Ms. Graham that Balser has been saying she wished Tabitha was dead.
Okay, so once again, 4 individuals are being named: Neff, Amanda, Elizabeth, and Jonathan. Why wasn't, if this is the case and all these people were pointing out the 4 of them, we know that Kyle Neff had made the statements that he would go to jail and do his time, but he hoped that he'd be able to see his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Who would Kyle Neff protect the most in this situation? and cover for.
The mother of his children.
That's right. And it's kind of funny because when I talked to Elizabeth, she made it sound like she didn't know Tabitha very well, never hung around her. And that is absolutely false because all these people are stating she was at her house, she was in the car with her. We know that they hung out.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
On Tuesday, 10/15/02, I conducted an interview of Ashley Borland concerning prescription pills that her mother, Erin McCormick, had reported missing. Information received is that Borland was supplying Yates with Xanax. Borland admitted to having taken these pills from her mother, but denied that she ever gave them to Yates. When asked why Yates would call her residence at midnight, as told to me by her mother, and Borland told me that she knows Yates, but does not know why he would call her at that hour of night.
Liar!
Borland said she has heard that Balser and Yates killed Tabitha and that Lindsay Groves videotaped it. Borland said she has also heard that Amanda Pratt killed Tabitha because Tabitha was pregnant with Neff's baby.
There's another person pointing
That's
the finger at Amanda.
That's 5. On Friday, 10/18/02, I conducted an interview of Thomas Nelson at the Tipton County Jail, where he is currently incarcerated. Nelson said he knows Yates has told Mandy Amon that he owns a gun, but does not keep it at his house. Nelson still maintains that Yates made the statement to him about hurting a girl. He said he knows Yates killed Tabitha because Yates wouldn't make that statement if it wasn't true, and he thinks Balser and Wes Miller are also involved.
Who's Wes Miller?
He's a friend of Gene Long, Paul Vasquez, Michael.
We've got a deposition from him.
Yeah, we do. I believe we do. On Tuesday, 10/27/02, I signed a probable cause affidavit for a search warrant for Yates's truck. The search warrant was issued and executed on Wednesday, 10/23/02 by Sergeant John Nystrom and Technician Kevin Steiner. Investigation ongoing. Next one.
Okay, witnesses: Jonathan Yates, Desiree Green, Teresa Arbuckle, Dina Wright, Daniel
Kokendorfer.
Thank you. Rebecca Amon. On Sunday, October 6, 2002, at approximately 2:30 a.m., myself, Sergeant Tim Miller, Detective Mike Tarr, and Chief Gordon Taco, Tipton Police Department, drove to Jonathan Yates' residence located in Tipton. Tipton County Prosecutor Tom Lett has authorized us to pick up Yates for questioning based on information we have been provided. No one would answer the door at the residence, and the vehicle known to be driven by Yates was not at the residence. Chief Taco and I drove to the residence of Kayla and Mandy Amon. I first asked Mandy Amon if she knew the whereabouts of Jonathan Yates. Mandy said she did not know and gave us the impression of not wanting to be helpful. Kayla Amon stated Yates was probably at a residence in Indian Heights at a friend's house. Kayla provided a phone number which we were able to track to, and it gives the address in Kokomo. On Sunday, October 6, 2002, at approximately 3:30 a.m., Sergeant Miller, Detective Tarr, and myself were able to locate Jonathan Yates at this address. We were assisted by Howard County Sheriff's Deputy Jeff Bunce and Jerry Asher. Yates signed a consent to search form allowing us access to his vehicle. A search of the vehicle was conducted by other officers while I briefly questioned Yates after advising him his Miranda rights, which he stated he understood. No contraband or possible evidence concerning this case was located in Yates' vehicle at that time. Yates stated he did not make any statements saying he had heard anyone. He did not deny the information provided to us about cocaine being used at his residence. Yates stated he also had no knowledge of Tabitha's death. Yates was transported to the Tipton Police Department for further questioning. Detective Tarr and I conducted an interview of Yates, which Detective Tarr also documented in his supplement. Yates was allowed to leave the Tipton Police Department at the conclusion of the interview.
Now hold
On
up.
Sunday, okay,
That was on October the 6th,
yeah,
the day after
they found
Tabitha
her.
was found.
Right.
So, now hear me out. Why did they not find the tonfa? Why did they not see the blood? Why didn't on the jack cover, the seat, all that stuff that they found weeks later?
Right. How is that? How is that?
Okay. Point proven.
On Sunday, October 6, 2002, at approximately 5:45 a.m., Sergeant Miller, Detective Tarr, and I drove myself to the residence of Kyle Neff and Amanda Pratt, located at blah, blah, blah. We were able to locate and speak with Pratt. She agreed to accompany us to the Tipton Police Department for an interview. A sworn taped statement of Pratt was taken by Detective Tarr and myself, which is included in Detective Tarr's supplement.
Which we've already read.
Right. I agree. Justice Angel said maybe that wasn't the vehicle used. You don't just miss that.
No, especially if they took the whole damn seat out.
Right. And between the 6th and when they actually took the truck and looked at it, they said they found, tissue and stuff on the bumper of the truck and all that stuff. There's a good chance he hit a deer or an animal or something. Somebody rubbed up against that part of the truck, sat in the back seat. That's how the blood got on the back seat. Because, like she said, you don't just miss that. It wasn't there on the 6th. You'd have to be legally blind to miss that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Nelly. On Sunday, October 6th, 2:20.
2022. 2002.
Okay, but that's what it says.
I know.
Another typo in this report. I was contacted by the Peru Post at approximately 12:10 p.m. Chief Taco was requesting I meet him and Detective Stout at the police department. I arrived at the police department and met with Stout and Taco. Two dancers from Little Daddy's Strip Bar in Kokomo had come to the police department to provide information concerning Elizabeth Balser. The first, Teresa Arbuckle, provided a sworn taped statement to us concerning information about Balser. Arbuckle stated she was at Little Daddy's on Saturday, October 5th, 2002, around 9 p.m. or so, she believes, and she took a phone call intended for Desiree Green. The person talking did not identify themselves, but Arbuckle recognized the voice to be that of Elizabeth Balser. Arbuckle believes the person talking thought she was Green because she stated Tabitha was killed in a creek, and I did it. Arbuckle stated Green and Balser had been involved in Green and Balser have been involved in a sexual relationship for 3 or 4 days, and she was familiar with who Balser was. Arbuckle had first met Balser on Tuesday, October 1st, 2002 at Little Daddy's. Balser was there with her mother, Linda, along with 2 Mexican males. Arbuckle said Green lives with her and her husband, and on Friday, October 4th, 2002, Balser came to the residence to wait for Green to arrive. The second dancer, Desiree Green, provided a sworn tape recorded statement following Arbuckle. Green admitted to a sexual relationship with Balser that had started approximately 3 days earlier. Green had a hickey on her neck, and she said that she said was put there by Balser. Green stated Balser came into Little Daddy's on Thursday, October 3rd, 2002, approximately at 12:30 a.m. with David Santana. Green and Balser left Little Daddy's at approximately 3 a.m. and went to Lot 87, located on Northeast 250 East, which is the residence of Green's uncle, Chuck Green. Green and Balser spent Thursday night in Kokomo and was provided a ride to Ryan Steakhouse on Friday, October 4th, 2002 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Balser's mother picked them up and transported them to Tipton. Balser and Green were in Tipton on Friday night, October 4th, 2002, spending time at Balser's residence as well as being in town. They went to the residence of Dina Wright and smoked marijuana with her before returning to Balser's residence. Green said prior to going to Wright's residence, they walked to Village Pantry located across the street. A poster with Tabitha Raines' picture had been posted inside the Village Pantry. Balser looked at the poster and replied, quote, "Oh my God," quote. Green stated her and Balser spent the night at Balser's residence smoking marijuana before leaving the residence on Saturday morning. On Sunday, October 6, 2002, at approximately 2:25 p.m., Detective Stout and I conducted an interview of Dina Wright at the Tipton Police Department. Wright was advised of her Miranda rights, which she stated she understood. Wright stated on Saturday, October 5th, 2002, a short time before 10 p.m., Elizabeth Balser came to her residence. Balser told Wright that someone from out of town had to have killed Tabitha. Balser said she knew her body had been in the creek for several days and the body had been beaten up real bad. Balser also stated the body could only be recognized by jewelry found on it, and the head was shaved and her face beaten in.
That's wrong.
It should be noted, no information about the condition of Tabitha's body has been released by any law enforcement personnel. Wright stated Balser asked to use her cell phone while at the residence. Wright heard Balser ask the telephone number of Little Daddy's, and she did place 2 calls using the cell phone. Wright said the number Balser dialed was... Wright stated Balser asked for Nicole, stating it was an emergency. Nicole is the middle name for Desiree Green. Balser called a second time, leaving Wright's telephone number for Nicole Wright. Stated she did not hear all conversation taking place with Balser while on the telephone. Wright stated on Thursday night, October 3rd, 2002, several people were at her residence, including Jacob Boyd, Matt Criswell, Kayla Amen, and Balser. Boyd made a joke about Tabitha's disappearance, and Balser became real defensive and started crying. Wright believes Kyle Neff is responsible for Tabitha's death. Wright knew Neff tried to kill someone before and is capable of doing that. She also feels Balser is involved because she calls Wright's residence every day, which is unusual. My head is spinning.
Mm-hmm. We're an hour and a half in.
Yeah, someone from out of town had to have killed Tabitha. Why would she say that?
Throw them off.
And she knew that Tabby's body had been in the creek for several days,
Yeah, but then she
and
also said that her head was shaven,
which it wasn't.
which it wasn't.
But the fact that she was beat up real bad was.
Yeah. And I don't know. I know Kyle has a very shady past, but I don't know that he's. I don't know about what she said about he tried to kill someone before. I don't know if how true that is.
Yeah.
I mean, he had domestic battery charges on him and all that stuff, and he's been in fights before, but who knows?
Yeah. The plot keeps thickening. Exactly. All right, everybody. We're going to stop here for tonight. We're only at page 52.
We only read 20 pages.
But that's because there's so much in there.
Oh, I know.
So what we're going to do is we're going to stop for tonight. We're going to set up another live stream for Sunday evening. I don't know that if I'm going to do it at 8 p.m. though. I may do it earlier because of it being Sunday and Monday being the start of the work week. I will talk to Andrea on a time. I will put it on the Tabitha Shuck Raines Facebook page, the Beyond the Evidence Facebook group page, and on the community tab. Because I believe what we're going to do Sunday, Andrea, is just we'll have to work around your schedule for Sunday afternoon.
Well, if it's going to be cold and if it's going to be cold like it's supposed to be, we won't be working outside. So that probably won't be an issue.
Okay. Because what I would like to do is just finish this up.
Okay. Then let me read most of it because I read faster than you do.
I know.
And then that way you can pay attention.
I can't help it. As I'm reading, thoughts are going through my head, so I can't read as fast.
I know. That's why I said, let me read. I can read faster, and I intake it faster than what you do, but you can pay attention as I read.
All right. And then what we're going to do is next week, I think what we need to do is just have a discussion. So for those of you taking notes, if you have to go back and listen to other episodes, go ahead and do it. But next week, we're going to do an episode where we just have a discussion and don't read anything on what contradictions you're finding, things like that, lies, red flags that are going off in your heads, all of that kind of stuff. So, and then from then we'll move into the individual depositions.
Which will also blow your mind.
Oh, yeah. Down Under with Love, thank you. She says, have it hit the thumb, been here lurking, listening, and absorbing. Well, let me tell you, there was a lot to absorb last night and tonight. Gloria says, thank you both for this episode. You're welcome. And Mark says, thank you Down Under with love. And what I'll do is for next week, I'll talk to Mark and see what night he's available and get him up here with us. Because we just have to have a discussion after this. Just to discuss things and work things out in our heads before we start with these individual depositions. Because it gets crazier.
With every deposition.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, Sunday it'll be on all the pages. All of the pages. Gloria says, I agree. Yeah. All right. Keep an eye on the community tab for Beyond the Evidence. The time for Sunday will be put on there once we can figure it out. Thank you once again for joining us. Like I said, have a good night. And we'll be back for episode 28 on Sunday. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.